Hi and welcome back to Settle in Spain. I'm Amanda. My husband Dave is away working at the moment. He'll be back in a couple of days. Those 2 weeks have gone really quickly, I can't believe it. And I'm really pleased. Can't wait to see him back again. Otis is currently at the other end of that garden, lying on a wall, waiting for somebody to bark at. We did start trying to do these videos together again today. Didn't quite work out. So this week the video is with me and David and destruction. It's time to bring down those ceilings. If you remember from the walk around videos, the ceilings at the front of the property in the front two main rooms, the entrance hall and the corridor, have all got these ceiling tiles in them. Above one of them I investigated with a friend and found there were beams. We're hoping it's going to be the same throughout. It certainly looks like it might be. So that's what happens this week. We get those ceiling tiles down. We reveal the beauty of the beams, the height of the ceilings, and start to see what this place is going to look like as we make it our home. I'm videoing this today from the rental. There's a little bit of sun just in the distance there. We've recently had a thunderstorm go through, although it's been a beautiful day. I'm pleased to say winter's definitely over. As you can see, I've got a t-shirt on. There's no jacket, there's no hat, there's no scarf, I think, for the first time in quite a while. It feels like summer is on its way at last. I believe I last had a fire maybe 4 or 5 days ago, which is wonderful. It means I don't have to clean it out every morning. You can see behind me then the land of our neighbours and the soil there where they've prepared it ready to plant vegetables. I so wish we could start working on our land already. I've got so many plans in my head. I've really just got to realise that until we've moved in, there's not much we can do yet. It's frustrating, but that's just a fact. We're lucky to have the property and we will be really over the moon when we eventually get to move in, but we just don't know how long that's going to take. This is the first time we've ever done a renovation. It's the first property we brought together and it's a huge learning curve. I think, as you're going to see on these videos, we're definitely learning as we go. We have no experience and no skills in building work. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you learned something along the way as well. Thank you for coming back and following us. And for those of you that are new, don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you next time. Enjoy. Thank you. While editing this today, we've actually reached 500 subscribers. Thank you.
This is the start of the destruction and the start of the heartache and the blood and the sweat and the tears. I'll find the right bit at the end of my screwdriver.
And it was also the start of us learning how to take things apart. Eventually, we'll know how to put them together too.
Back to the trusty Snap-on.
Soon discovered that all of the screws connecting the hinges to these doors were definitely past their best. But we did work it out and that door did come off along with several others. So then it was time to start taking those ceilings down, beginning with the coving around the edges. This turned out to be a lot heavier and more solid than we had ever imagined it would be. Luckily, David had thought about it and bought these caps, which are actually hard hats. For those of you that can remember from the walk around I did of the property originally, there are 2 front rooms like this with these false ceilings, the hallway in between, and then the further hallway leading through to the back of the house. So in total that's 4 rooms to get the coving off and the ceilings down, and see the state of the beams that are underneath and how much work we're going to have to do going forward to restore these, if they can be restored.
That's all the moulding's done.
I do believe I may be a bit fitter after this.
Before going any further with removing that ceiling, we needed to work out a way to safely get that glass chandelier down. It was attached with an electrical wire through to a beam above. So what we had a look at doing was taking one tile out around that light. We thought that by cutting around the edges we'd be able to loosen just the one tile safely, not break anything or hurt ourselves. However, these tiles worked out to be so well attached that that wasn't going to be possible. I've recently found out more about how they're attached thanks to a viewer of these YouTube videos. Apparently, what looks like animal hair on the gypsum ceiling tiles is actually hemp mixed with liquid plaster so that all the tiles would be joined to each other. Apparently they were also used a lot in the 1970s here in Spain. So thank you for that, Mickey BCN. We really appreciate the information you've given us. If anyone else can help us with information on how these buildings were originally built, how they've been updated over the years, or any types of eco-restoration, we'd really appreciate it. We really are novices, we're learning as we go along and spending a lot of time Googling and reading up. So thank you, we appreciate you. We also started to realise at this point that this ceiling was not going to come down in nice small pieces, but probably large chunks that was a little less controllable than we would have liked. So we took the light down and continued.
This reminds me of the old Only Fools and Horses time, when they took the chandelier down. They knocked it from the top and it fell down the room next door. Okay, I'm going to go get the sledgehammer, yeah?
I then decided to pick up one of the new tools and have a go at taking apart a door frame, mainly just to see how the tool worked. Not really the right tool for the job, a little bit noisy and a little bit of overkill, but it was fun to learn how to use it and just to have a little go. We did discover at this stage David had been across at the warehouse, and the noise of using this tool echoed really loudly even down through there. So it made us realise that we're going to have to be really careful going forward. We want to be really mindful of our neighbours. There are particular quiet hours here in Spain between 2 and 4 in the afternoon, and we are going to make sure we try and adhere to those as much as we can throughout the process of renovating this property. This then turned into an opportunity for David to teach me how to use some of the tools that we're going to be needing going ahead. I'd never picked up a crowbar before. Of course I know what one is and I know how it works, but it's good to know how to use all these different tools in a safe way. A career in communications and then teaching really doesn't prepare you for doing this sort of work. Although my parents did up properties when I was younger, so I did have a little experience. The only power tool I've ever used is an electric screwdriver. This is a very steep learning curve. Dave's never done this before either, or even owned a property, so this really is both of us learning on the job. He decided to take apart the first ceiling to start with, small pieces at a time, seeing how it would come apart. We soon learned that actually being a bit more brutal would work better. We got that ceiling down and then managed to take that door frame apart. We learned quite a bit again about how that door frame was made. The wood at the bottom was actually in the ground itself, in the concrete, and is one of the reasons there's a problem with termites coming into those. So our first day of destruction came to an end. Everything we had created in the way of rubbish got taken out to the skip, and we headed back to the rental place. Another learning curve was that we should fill up the skip from one end to the other, not from the bottom up. That way we can get more in it and actually wheel the wheelbarrow on there. We've had the same tip from several people now to fill up the skip by building the sides and getting it as high as possible. Skips here now cost €150 compared with 50 just a year ago.
Probably.
On the way back to the rental place, we got stopped by tumbleweed in the middle of the road. This area of Spain really does have more in common with parts of America than it does with parts of Europe. We've lived in deserts before, but it's the first time we've actually experienced tumbleweed. This was a really good workout. It was tough on the arms. Those tiles did not want to come down easily. And that crowbar, it's quite heavy.
What's going on, Mr. Hotel? Oh dear, no. Well, keep going.
I need a break.
We've still got another 4 ceilings to go. Another 6 skips to fill up.
Strangely satisfying.
Right, now you've had your fun. Let's get that light out. We'll get that light out.
Okay.
We did take that light down and made the electric safe. Then David went into the room behind that one again and took the ceiling down from there. All of the tiles went into the skip. As you can see, most of those beams do look really good. I, in the meantime, took apart some more door frames. We had to go back over each room after the tiles had come down to actually take off some of those larger pieces of yeso that were hanging down, holding the tiles in place. One of the next jobs going forward is going to be to clean all that white lime off those beams. So, as you can now see, all 3 of those doorways and doors have been removed that go from the main entrance hall to the 2 main rooms at the front and the corridor at the back. and 3 of the 4 ceilings at this stage had been completely removed. It was really quite amazing the difference just those few inches made to the feel of the size of these rooms. They seemed lighter, bigger and brighter already. Now there was just 1 ceiling left to go. It was really difficult to set the mobile phone up to actually video taking these ceilings down. We were quite scared the mobile was going to get broken. So David dug out his old GoPro, we got it charged up and attached it to the bars of the window of this last room. I hope you're able to appreciate the fun we had getting this ceiling down. Learning as we go, this time Dave got the wheelbarrow and put it underneath where he's getting that moulding down from around the edges of the ceiling, trying to catch them as they fall and creating less work in the long run to take things out to the skip. We've certainly by now worked out the much easier way to get these ceilings down, and quite good fun it was too. There was one last section remaining just in front of the window. For a moment, I did contemplate pulling it down and leaving the GoPro there, but common sense did prevail, thanks to David, and we moved the camera.
Oh, it's almost as if you've got the hang of it.
And so the last of those ceiling tiles finally came down. We learnt a lot in the process of doing 4 different rooms. If anyone wants to hire someone to take their ceiling tiles down, we are available. All of that rubbish we'd created from taking down the ceilings did of course have to make its way into the skip, and we had to find our own unique way of crushing everything down to get in as much as we possibly could. Here you can see how we did it. One huge concern we had when taking down the ceilings was the state the beams would be in. We had found termite damage at the bottoms of most of the door frames. This beam is completely unsalvageable. It's going to have to be removed and replaced. 2 others that also have damage look like we might be able to keep those, but time will tell. And so as that week ended, we headed back to the rental. In torrential rain, real torrential rain. Amazing considering it had been so dry at the house all day. Over the weekend, I work. and we needed to run some errands and go down to the local town. So it would be a couple of days before we got back to doing work at the house itself. Dave had been away for 6 weeks working, and because flights had changed slightly in that time he was away, with prices increasing with the fuel increases worldwide, he was actually only going to be home for 12 days, 2 of those obviously travelling to and from the airport. So it only gave us 10 days minus my working days and having to run errands to actually work on the house this time he was home. Thankfully, the next day the weather cleared up yet again and the sun came out. Otis got to go on lots of walks with Dave while I worked online. Next week you're going to be seeing more destruction. This time it's the walls coming down and the rooms really starting to open up. I'm going to leave you with their walk. You can see how amazingly green everything has become now that we've had all that rain. Thank you, Otis, for adding to that. Don't forget to subscribe, click that thumbs up and comment below. Thank you. See you next week.